What is going on, guys? Predator458 here, and welcome back to my channel. Now, if you missed my little festive season, happy Christmas video, as you watch this, I'm currently in Durban with my family for Christmas. So the video you are watching now and the others you're going to be watching over the Christmas New Year period have all been uploaded before I left. Video every second day instead of every single day, Monday to Friday. This is just going to be every second day, so long as I have content to show you guys. But anyways, we're back with Stuff Rules in his New Mexico Tier 6 American Battleship, and we are on this map. What's this one called? New Dawn? I forget. I preferred this map in closed beta. They made a lot of changes to it when they went into open beta and release. And I actually preferred the old version. But anyways, this is going to be a rather good game for him. Unfortunately, it is possibly that New York behind him on his port side is going to be a massive tool. And basically, I presume cost his Stuff Rules, cost his team victory. But anyways, so New Mexico on our way to sea. Got a Fuso off in the distance. Carson Wader at 20 kilometers. Unfortunately, we do not have the range to reach out and touch him. But there is also an Omaha. And yeah, I got some rather interesting puns going on in the chat if you look there. Stuff Rules does have this match is a little bit, does take a little bit of time to get started. But that's always the case with American battleships below tier 8 because they're rather slow and their guns don't have a very long range. But the Omaha is within range, 14.5 kilometers. There's also a Clemson, Cleveland at 15.9 behind some islands at sea, and Fuso has just started to creep within the range of our 14-inch guns. Seems like Stuff Rules has selected the Omaha. Is that going to be his first target? It is maneuvering a fair bit though. Or at least it was. But at relatively close range, so going to take the lead. He's going to fire a shot. No, he decides to hold his fire. Incoming torpedoes towards the Omaha. Looks like they're all going to miss. Fuso's also well within range now. But Stuff Rules is just watching that Omaha, waiting for the perfect opportunity to fire a salvo. And someone's dead. Carson Wader destroyed Surreal, one of his team's allied destroyers. But I think now is the moment he's been waiting for. Omar is going to present a nice flat side. He's going to fire off a full salvo. And just not enough lead. But he still manages 5 hits for about 5,500 odd damage. No need to worry about torpedoes from that guy. Obviously, they only have a range of from about 5.5 kilometers. So well outside torpedo range of this American cruiser. Just waiting on the reload. This guy's continuing to turn, do circles. Got more torpedoes coming in. 3 seconds on the reload. And of course he disappears just as the main battery is ready to fire. Thanks to this smoke screen laid by what I'm presuming is that friendly destroyer that is just within the sea capture circle. If you look on the mini-map. He's just waiting for him to pop back up. There he is. And again, he's going to present a nice broadside target. Fire a full salvo. And here comes some torpedoes. Wonder who fired those. Only 1 hit that time, which was really unfortunate. And thankfully, they run out of range. He may have actually been able to slip between the gap of those 2 torpedoes there. And miss all of them. But it didn't really matter because, as I said, they ran out of range. But things are not looking terribly good for his team so far. They've lost 3 of their destroyers. The enemy team's only lost 2. They are capturing C. They've prevented the capture of A. So things are not terrible, but the enemy team is in the lead. 3 hits, no idea how much damage he did. Because the Omaha cloaked before the shells found their mark. Cleveland and Fuso. And here come more torpedoes. This is presumably from that destroyer that is and has captured the C point. And it looks like we're going to be able to miss all of these. Just swing that butt out the way. About ready to fire. Should be able to get over this ridge. So fires a full salvo at the Cleveland. How are these looking? Looking pretty good. 2 citadels in a hit to destroy the Cleveland and get a devastating strike. I didn't quite see how much damage it was, but I think it was over 20,000. And there's his first kill of the match. But I mean, now his team's lost a considerable number of allied ships. And the enemy team is 100 points in the lead. Mitsuki at 4.5 kilometers. Got to play it a little bit careful now. Because we don't really want those torpedoes to find their mark. Barely taken any damage so far, which is always a good thing. Guns ready and waiting for this Mitsuki to present himself. He's still got AP loaded, but at this range, he should be able to land a good couple of hits, and even with AP, they will do a fair amount of damage. If he gets, you know, a good number of hits, which he should. So, lining up, firing full salvo. 3 hits for 3,000. So it could have been a bit better, but still, you know, when that consider that guy only has 11,000 hit points, to lose 3,000 is a significant chunk. He anticipates incoming torpedoes, so he'd already started to turn around and head away from them. Now, unfortunately, I think he's just going to be unable to get the rudder turned back over in time, and unfortunately he's going to take 2 torpedoes. Yeah, nothing he could really do there. It happens. It's happened to the best of us. And that took him down to 33,000 hit points. He did use his repair party to excuse me, to fix the rudder and stop the flooding, and he's now burning his damage control team to build his hit points back up to 40,000. And Sir Arthur and the Nicholas is just moving to inside the sea cap to reclaim that for his team. But I mean, you can just see the numbers. There's 3 remaining on Stuff Rules team versus 2 battleships, 1 battleship now, 3 cruisers and a destroyer. So they do have a numbers advantage and they have a points advantage. Fires off a full salvo at this Mitsuki, and that's what I was talking about. He manages to land 5 shots, and even though they over-penetrated, only did 1,000 damage each, that was enough to finish off that pesky destroyer for his 2nd kill of the match. He's now turning in towards those torpedoes in case they are indeed coming his way, and I think now he's going to start trying to close the distance to the Fuso and provide some fire support to Sir Arthur Curry in the Nicholas and locate some of the other targets. So it's now 3 versus 4, which is better odds, but still have a slight points advantage, but hopefully capturing the C point will neutralize that fairly quickly. Alright, so the enemy team has started to capture B. The Fuso is moving to within the cap circle. 14 kilometers away from Stuff Rules, so he takes a shot with the front 2 batteries, manages to land a single hit for 3,500 damage, and immediately turns in towards the shells and manages to make sure all of them miss. So although his team did briefly have 2 capture points, they weren't really able to close the gap onto the enemy team much at all. Still around 20 odd points. Just trying to get those rear turrets turned around so we can bring them onto target, onto this Fuso. Unfortunately, the Fuso's rate of fire is superior to the New Mexico, so he can fire before we're ready with our second salvo. But his front two guns are ready, and as the rear two come onto the target, he fires them off as well. Manages 7 hits for, what is that, 11.5 plus 4.5. So a good amount of damage there, but now this Königsberg is starting to put some shots down onto his battleship as well, which is obviously problematic because you've got fires and there's lots of damage from that salvo. And speaking of fire, there we go. Omaha at 9 kilometers, very low health, so this is actually a target that I think he should try and get rid of quite quickly, because just because he's on low health doesn't mean his guns do any less damage. Manages to land a Citadel, critical hit on his engine there, 2 hits to finish him off. Always annoying when you get those Citadels on a very low health target, because so much damage potential wasted. But that's now 3 kills for him, but it is now 2 versus 3. And there you can see in the G9 block is the New York of, I think his name's Clay J. And this guy, I don't know what he was doing. He's being an absolute idiot, and he's going to pretty much ruin the game. So, Königsberg at 9.5 kilometers. Looks like he's going to be a nice broad target. Stuff Rules is keeping his nose pointed towards the Fuso, so hopefully any and all shots will bounce. He fires off a full salvo. Those are looking good. Some good hits into the center of the ship there, but unfortunately no citadels or anything like that. Some light damage from the Königsberg's presumably high explosive shells. Some more light damage. He's turning in a little bit towards him now, which might be exposing his side a little bit too much to that Fuso. And the Königsberg looks like it's trying to make a dash to get to within torpedo range, which is a smart play by that player. But Citadel and engine damage to knock off 11,000 hit points and reduce him down to 5,600. And I mean, you can just see that New York, I don't know what he's doing out there. He needs to get in here with Stuff Rules and fight these guys at close range, but instead he's going like the longest way round that he can possibly think of. In, again, as with any American battleship, one of the slowest battleships in the freaking game. So I would have been extremely angry. Another Citadel, 3 hits, 5,000 damage, and you see it says in chat, New York help, and a lot of the teammate members are gonna get in and start criticizing this New York for his retarded play. Takes 3,300 damage, 6,700 damage from the Fuso. Just trying to start to turn over. He does have to watch out about torpedoes, and as I say that, a set of torpedoes comes in, and I don't know if he's going to be able to avoid those. Actually, he is super lucky. They run out as they get to him. He gets 9 hits, high caliber Confederates, and this Karlsruhe is now on 29 health. And I mean, those torpedoes must have run out like just as they touched, just before they touched the hull. So he's now turning straight in towards the Fuso, trying to get his guns on time. Unfortunately, the Fuso has managed to knock out one of his forward turrets. Fuso has a lot more hit points than Stuff Rules does, but he manages to get a Citadel, knocking off another 13,000 hit points of the Fuso, bringing it down to 27,000. He does some heavy damage to Stuff Rules, and Stuff Rules now been set on fire, just hoping and praying that the secondaries actually finish off the Karlsruhe, and there we go. It's now 2 versus 1, but that freaking New York is nowhere to be found. Nowhere in, I mean, I just don't know. I just do not know. And there we go, the team's continuing to berate this New York. Unfortunately, Stuff Rules now down to 500 health. Even a hit from the secondary batteries will finish him off. And there we go, that's the end of his game, unfortunately. And it's really irritating because he played really well, and it didn't have to end this way if that New York had just not been a complete idiot. But anyways, I think off to the results we go. And this is what Stuff Rule sent. He obviously forgot to take the official screen cap, so he created his own. He didn't send like the overall screen, so I actually don't recall if it was a victory. It should have been, because I think that New York should have been able to eventually do it, but he was so useless, you never know. Armor piercing damage, he did tons of damage, which is great, about 130. HE 0 secondaries fire. So yeah, this was my personal favorite, the team score. So you've got the blue team of greatness with Stuff Rules with over 9,000 points. Evil red team, Nemesis Congo, and was actually a Fuso, as he pointed out in his email, also over 9,000. And it's actually quite funny to just pause and have a look through some of these things. Apparently I even played, but I'm third to last, and my score was Cool Guy. So thank you. So it was a fairly enjoyable game, a good amount of damage. In the end, I think he got, I'll just rewind the video on my side back to the point of his death. And he had 50 target hits, 5 kills, 6 citadels, defended a base once, 2 incapacitations, 1 fire. He got devastating strike, high caliber, and Confederate. So a very good game for you. Just a pity, again, about that New York. So Stuff Rules, thank you very much for sending this in. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this video. If you enjoyed, please feel free to hit the thumbs up button down below and consider subscribing for more World of Warships content, as well as Armored Warfare and a few other things I've thrown into the mix from time to time. But anyways, I hope you guys have a fantastic holiday season, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever you guys celebrate. Have a good one. Enjoy the time with your family. But anyway, that is it from me for this video. Thank you very much for stopping by. This is Predator 458 signing off, and I will see you guys next time.